Welcome back to Winterverse. I'm Andrew, and today we're going to start some SolForge Fusion tournament. I recently got my Kickstarter reward. So in front of you, you see 16 faction decks. 4 of them you've seen before in my previous SolForge videos where I did a matchup. But now I also have the contents of another starter set as well as 2 booster packs. So a starter set or booster pack is all going to contain 4 faction decks, and then in order to play, you're going to combine 2 of the faction decks. So I need to combine 2 faction decks to make a Forge deck, and then combine 2 other faction decks to make another Forge deck, and we will have the first matchup in our bracket. So the best way to play SolForge Fusion is to choose your decks that you'd like to combine with each other and make the most powerful and fun pairing for you, but instead I'm going to do it randomly and try out some of these decks for the first time. So let's number them 1 through 20 and see what we get. Number 12 is going to be Korok, the Yearning Enchantments Circle. And now we actually need to ignore the Tempest row here, the red cards, because it can't combine with another red half deck. So let's see. Oh, it keeps bouncing out of my tray. Number 5 is Cersei, Ebonskull's Spying Fathers. So now we need 1 out of 14. We'll reroll a 15. 14 will be Nova, the Soothing Brighttusk Trappers. And then 1 out of 11. Got number 8, which is Sunder, the Crusty Mages of Unique Shock. So we have 2 Tempest decks in the mix. All right, and then through the magic of editing, we're all set up here. The first selected deck will be going first, the Necreum Tempest, or the purple and red. And in case you're not familiar with SolForge, what we do is we took all the cards from both decks and combined them, and then separated them out by level, which is actually, it's pretty quick if you just keep your decks organized. So our starting deck here, it's been shuffled, and the cards we've drawn from are from that starting deck. These are all level 1 cards, the level 1 cards from both the purple and the red cards. They've got level 1 cards from their red and green cards, just because of which factions they combined. And then in this stack, I've got all of the level 2 cards of the purple and the red, and this is the stack of purple and red level 3 cards. So every card in your deck has a level 1 version, a level 2 version, and a level 3 version. We'll see how that plays out over the course of the game. You can also organize it so that you have your level 1 cards in your starting deck, and then some people might say, oh, I'll just put all my red cards here, my purple cards here, of the level 2s and 3s. But I prefer to separate all out by level. We both have 40 health, and the starting player is going to have the Forge on its colored side. On the other side is the grayscale version. So we'll exchange having the Forge round by round. And the one last missing piece are the Forgeborn. So those are the cards on the top. We'll take a look first here at Korok, the Yearning Enchantments Circle. And below that, you can see his deck list. So every deck list in SolForge Fusion is a unique deck list. You won't find any other decks that is this exact list. And in fact, you can scan that, and if it works through the video, and check that out online. I've already claimed it into my collection. So I saved that in my digital SolForge Fusion collection. And on the other side of that card is the Forgeborn. So this is Korok. Not every Korok is unique, but there are different versions of Korok that have these abilities and maybe some other abilities in different combinations at different tiers. So if you see an ability at tier 2 verse 3 verse 4, it'll be more powerful. And before we start, I'm gonna have to choose for each deck which of their Forgeborn they actually use. So the other half of their deck is coming here from Cersei, Ebonskull's Spying Fathers. This one's actually interesting because that possessive noun there, Ebonskull, makes me wonder if that was a Kickstarter backer's handle, because backers who backed the original SolForge and this SolForge Fusion campaign had the option of adding their usernames or titles or something to the procedural deck name generator. Mine is in there somewhere, Fission Essence, but this is Ebonskull. I don't know if that's just part of the algorithm or if that's actually somebody's name, but if you are Ebonskull, let me know. We can work out how you can get this deck. But anyway, again, you can see the unique deck list. There's the cards that are going to be in this deck, as well as the QR code if you want to scan it. And then on the other side is going to be Cersei. So every one of the 4 factions in the base set has 2 different leader options, but those leaders can appear with different combinations of abilities. And I've actually decided to play with this Cersei as my Forgeborn here. So I'm going to put her over here by my health, and this Korok I'm just going to set off to the side. We won't be using him this game. And over here we have Nova for the Utera faction, the Soothing Brighttusk Trappers. Along with that deck list, feel free to check it out, but we'll take a look at his abilities here. Or her. I think that might be a lady. Pause at any time if you need a longer look, but then we'll see Sunder, the Crusty Mages of Unique Shock. Obviously the deck name generator can come up with some exciting titles. If you look at the deck list and the abilities on Sunder here, I actually think this Nova is really strong, so I'm going to play with her. I'm a little disappointed because I'm not playing with either of the Tempest Forgeborn, but maybe the other two will get a chance to show off some Tempest powers. But honestly, I'll admit that Tempest is not super resonant with my play style, so player choice certainly affects things. Not only do you decide which faction decks to combine into your Forge deck, but you choose which Forgeborn to actually use. And with the Forgeborn selected, we can actually get started. So we've drawn our opening hands of 5, and the way the game works is the player with the Forge will take the first turn in the round by playing 1 card. And I think we will start out with the Everflame Phoenix. So this is actually one of the decks I had in my previous video. So we've seen the Everflame Phoenix before, but it's going to have 6 attack and 4 health. It has mobility 1, which means even though we're going to place it in a lane, it has the ability to move 1 lane away. And it has aggressive, meaning even if we were not the Forge player, it would start in the front of the lane. And as soon as we play the card, we're going to go into our level 2 stack and find Everflame Phoenix level 2 and put that into our discard pile. As you can see, the art actually changes on this one. So most cards have the same artwork across all 3 levels. The Phoenix is one of the few that does change more drastically. And this egg version, this dead Phoenix here, will go to our discard pile. And that's it. That's our first turn. Goes to the other player. I think we'll just play this Shard Plate Delver for Nova. So it has 5 attack and 6 health. Has breakthrough, meaning while it's attacking, excess damage it would deal above its opponent's health goes to the player's health. So that is the goal of the game, is to reduce our opponent from 40 health down to 0. It says deploy if this replaced a creature, give it +3/+3. It is not replacing a creature, we're just going to be playing it into our empty board here. So if we already had a creature out, for example this zombie, and we wanted to play it into the same lane, then we'd be replacing it and we would get that bonus. But as it is, let's just put it directly in front of this Phoenix. And because we are the inactive Forge player, goes into the back row. And we will level it up, finding the level 2 Shard Plate Delver, putting that to the discard. Now as Cersei, we can see that the 6 attack would kill the Shard Plate Delver, and its 5 attack would kill our Phoenix. But let's go ahead and use mobility and move it out of the way. So we do have to exhaust the card to show we won't be able to use mobility again. Although as soon as we've taken our second action, played another card, we'll be done for the round anyway. So this is our last opportunity to move it as it is anyway. And unfortunately, we don't have great options. I think I'm going to play this Windspark Elemental. It has aggressive again, so it means it's going to be in front, but it would already be in front anyway. And it says when it damages a player, deal that much damage to an enemy creature, which is great, except for the opponent probably won't let us do that. So we'll go ahead and put it in this lane here, but if they put a creature in this lane, that ability won't really have the opportunity to happen. And then level up the Windspark Elemental. And Nova has a couple options. I think I'm going to do this one, play Firestorm. And this is a spell that deals 4 damage to all creatures. So it's not going to go into play. It's just going to deal 4 damage to all creatures. And 4 will kill the Phoenix and the Windspark Elemental. So both of these cards go to their banished pile on that side of the table. Those cards are not coming back. They've already been upgraded to level 2 forms, which are in the discard pile. So the level 1 versions are out of the game completely. Firestorm also hits our Shard Plate Delver for 4. So its health goes from 6 down to 2. And that is a permanent change, so I'm just going to put a die there, and we might try to get in the habit of just using dice. Even though its attack is 5, it's still 5, but I'm going to mark it with a die. Actually, maybe not, because some cards do care about the printed value of a card, so I don't know which way is easier to see on camera, if you can see that at all anyway. But the Delver is now going to be a 5/2. We do need to upgrade our Firestorm. And now that both players have played 2 cards, this round will end. So this Firestorm, again, just like those creatures that were just put into the banished pile, this spell is completely finished. It's in our banished pile here. All the combat occurs. So if anything were in the front lane, it would initiate an attack. Nothing is in the front lane, so no attacks are actually going to happen. We now get to slide our Shard Plate Delver forward, so in the future rounds it will be able to trigger attacks. We exchange the Forge, and we discard our remaining 3 cards. These are not banished, these are discarded, so we will have level 1 cards in our discard pile, and then draw 5 new cards from our deck in order to play round 2. And now since Nova is the Forge player, she will take the first action. You know what, let's play this Assailing Sentinel. So this is a 4/4, When it's deployed, give it +1/+1 for each spell in your banish zone, which you actually have one. It also says deploy if it's unopposed, deal 3 damage to the opponent. So any lane we play it in, it will be unopposed. Also, it's interesting to take a look. This is a procedurally generated card. So it is an assailing sentinel, assailing being an adjective and sentinel being a noun. So I think sentinels have that spell ability and assailing cards have that deploy ability. And the way the algorithm works, I don't totally know everything, but different adjectives can go onto different base creatures to form different combinations. Sometimes they are exactly replicable and linear, and sometimes there's some mathematical formula that determines their attack and health and things based on the pairing. You can also see the rarity. This is a Kickstarter coloration specifically, but you see purple on purple there. I think the main release will have different colors, but in this case, those are both rare. So this is a rare base creature and a rare modifier. So if you see green, that is a common base creature or a common modifier, but this is a rare pairing. And in fact, you can see how many, or get a sense of how many of this card exists. This is number 10. So there were only 9 of this card printed before it, and this is deck number 9,358. So out of that many decks, there were only 10 of this card. Of course, the more decks there are, the more this card can exist, but you get an idea of some of the cool stuff that we'll see. So we can put this anywhere except for here, unless we want to replace that, which why would we? So let's put it actually off on the side. It's going to get +1/+1 for our banished spell, so it'll be a 5/5, and it immediately deals 3. So Cersei goes down to 37. Level it up. Now Cersei's on the defense, and she's got 10 damage potentially coming in. Let's see what we can do about that. I'm going to play this Blizzard Shaman, and he has a 3/4 with the ability he can activate to deal 2 damage to all creatures, including himself. I'm going to put him over here, and we could activate him right away, and that would finish the Shardplate Delver and bring the Assailing Sentinel down to 3. I'm actually going to not do that, and hopefully that will be okay. We could get punished for that if they're able to just destroy the Shaman before we use it, level it up, but I'm going to risk it and see if I can pull off something a little bit better. So as Nova, we're planning to play this Mystic Decaysor. It's another adjective noun pairing there. In this case, I think the mystical means it can deploy a wisp when it itself is deployed, a wisp being a minion, which is a token creature that looks like that. But I think I'm not going to do that because it's just a 2/2, and we can see that they've got the Blizzard Shaman. So maybe we'll save the Mystical Decaysor for a future round and instead play this Hibernating Basher. It has Breakthrough again, so it can deal excess damage directly to the player, and it is a 5/6. And normally hibernating is an adjective that means it's going to get bigger later, so leveling it up is pretty nice. We'll put that out to threaten the Blizzard Shaman, level up the Basher. A very important thing about SolForge Fusion is that the non-Forge player gets the last say. So before we play our card for the turn, because you can do stuff, normally you just do one action, but because of things like activates, it does add to a little bit more complex and exciting turn structure. You can do things in the order you want. I'm going to go ahead and use that Blizzard Shaman now, activating to deal 2 damage to all creatures. So Shardplate Delver is done and banished. The Assailing Sentinel will go down to 3 health, and the Hibernating Basher goes down to 4. Again, these are all permanent changes, or fluid, you might say. And then our card for turn is going to be Spite Maiden. Deploy, you may have this creature deal 5 damage to you, so we're going to go down to 32 already. But if you do, you may play a level 1 spell for free. So let's put Spite Maiden here. Her 3 attack is going to be enough to take out that Assailing Sentinel. And we get to play a spell. We're going to play Pyre Song, which is destroy a creature with decreased health. Well, guess what? This Hibernating Basher has less health than its printed value, so that means it's decreased. And we take this one out as well. And that seems pretty powerful, but it's actually even more powerful than that because we get to level up both of those cards. We get to level up our Spite Maiden as well as our Pyre Song. So we've leveled up more cards than our opponent now, which is going to be relevant as we play through the game. And we reshuffle our discard pile to reform a deck in the second, third, and potentially fourth cycles. Now that both players have done 2 actions, we resolve the fight. In this case, there is a creature in the front row, the Assailing Sentinel. It will therefore initiate a fight. It is not optional. So it's going to deal 5 damage to the Spite Maiden, killing her, and she will deal 3 damage back simultaneously, killing that Sentinel. And now Cersei dealt 5 to herself, but otherwise didn't take any damage. and she has the advantage on the board. We'll ready the Blizzard Shaman. It can act again in the next round. Switch the Forge. Discard our hand. Cersei only has 2 cards because she got to play 3. But still, you always discard whatever's left and draw a new 5. And this is actually the last turn or last round of the cycle. I might be misusing the terms here actually, but basically after both players have played 2 cards, this time we will not play a 4th round with the last 5 cards of our deck. Instead, our whole discard pile and deck will get all reshuffled and we'll move on to the second cycle of the game. And that is when these Forgeborn abilities kick in. As you can see, they're numbered 2, 3, and 4, not 1, 2, and 3. They kick in starting in the second cycle. Blizzard Shaman does also slide up. This hand doesn't look super good, but I'm going to play Zithian Dreadmaw for 3 with Stealth and activate destroy another one of your creatures to give this +2/+2. Stealth meaning anything in the back row does not block its attack. So we're going to go ahead and play this into the front row. And if Nova does play something into the back row, which is where she would play her creature this turn because she's the inactive Forge player, it would not block this. So at the end of the round, it would attack for 4, and that would just go straight to her health, ignoring anything back there. So that's what Stealth does. We'll level it up. This hand is actually even worse. I think the best we can do is play Primordial Slam, which is just going to be a spell, deals 4 damage to a creature. We can give one of our warriors +4 attack, but we don't have any. So I think let's just kill this Dreadmaw, and that's it. Level it up. It's really super awkward, but I guess we'll just play Dr. Frankenbaum. When a creature is destroyed by him, play a mindless zombie minion in your lane for free. Any lane, rather, and mindless zombie is a creature token, a 3/3 zombie. I'll just put him back in the middle. No need to use the Blizzard Shaman, so we won't be doing that this round. Level up Dr. Frankenbaum. I don't even know what to do. I'm just going to play this guy. Summoning Warhound. At least we get 2 creatures out of it. So another type of token here is the Spell Sprite. It looks like this. It's a 1/4, but when you play a spell, it gets +2 attack. And we'll put that in front of the Blizzard Shaman, and this guy, we're not replacing a creature so we don't get to deal 3, but we'll just put this maybe just right next to him. I don't want to throw it in front of Dr. Frankenbaum because it'll just die and give them a zombie, so we'll put it here, level it up, and let combat resolve. So everything happens simultaneously, but because we're humans, we'll do them one at a time. So we're going to take 4 from the unblocked Dr. Frankenbaum, going down to 36, and Summoning Warhound is in the back, so it does not initiate a fight. Blizzard Shaman's in the front, so it'll initiate a fight against this Spell Sprite, dealing 3 against the 4 health to bring it down to 1 health, and the 1 attack against the 4 health will bring that one down to 3. We'll go ahead and switch the Forge, discard our hands, and instead of drawing the last 5 cards of our deck, we're going to move on to Cycle 2, shuffling our discard and deck together, complete with the leveled up level 2 cards. Also go ahead and mark that we are now in level 2. So these level 2 abilities will be available. Nova says choose a level 1 enemy creature. The opponent replaces it with a Wisp minion. And Cersei says upgrade a level 1 card in your discard pile and return it to your hand. And those abilities will be available during this second cycle that we're about to play. They will not be available during the 3rd cycle. So if you don't use it, you lose it. Also, these 2 do slide forward, and we have to figure out what we want to do because this only has 1 health and this only has 2 health, so that Blizzard Shaman can easily take them both out with 1 activation. But it will kill itself too. I think this might be what we're looking for here. Toxic Spores says to give a creature +3 health and give a creature -3 health. So I think we'll do the -3 on the Shaman, so that threat is out of the way. The +3, put it on the Spell Sprite because this one gets to grow. So now it's up to 4 health, which is actually the printed value. And because we played its spell from its own ability, it goes up to 3 attack. We'll level up Toxic Spores, put this one into our Banish Zone. But Turnabout is fair play, and Cersei's going to play Om Nom Nom, which is a spell. Give a creature -3. -3, and if it destroys a creature, make a zombie. So 3 is not enough to kill the Spell Sprite, but we can kill the Summoning Warhound and get a zombie. I'm not sure where we want to put it, but I don't think we just want to lose it to the Spell Sprite because 3 damage would not kill the 4 health. So we'll just take that for now, I think. Level up Om Nom Nom. Banish the original. I think Nova will punish them a bit for that. We're going to play Burnout, really playing into this spell strategy. can play a Spell Sprite minion. So we get another one of these. This one has a Kickstarter alternate art, but still a Spell Sprite. You want to see the little rock baby. And the question is, where do we want to put it? So it says give all your creatures +2 attack. You are the aggressive player. I don't believe this Spell Sprite gets the inherent bonus of when you play a spell because it's coming out as part of that spell. It wasn't around when that spell was initially played. So it's just going to get the +2 from the card text. So this one will go up to 3. And this one will get from the card text and from its own effect when you're playing a spell. So this one actually goes up to 7 attack. Maybe it's going to make them second guess not putting anything to block it. Level up Burnout. But I think they're going to be okay because they're going to play Zithian Dreadmaw level 2. This is our first level 2 card of the game. And again, it's got stealth, but that's not going to matter right now. Instead, we're going to activate it and destroy another one of our creatures to give it +3/+3, bringing it up to 9/8. So the Mindless Zombie is out, but we are now going to have a 9/8 in this lane here, and 8 is big enough to survive that 7 attack. You'll only have 1 left, but that's still good enough to survive, meaning it will be a threat going into the next round. So then we can resolve combat. It's going to be 9 against 4 will kill it, 7 against 8 will bring it down to 1, and this is out. Dr. Frankenbaum will deal 4 directly, putting Nova down to 32, and then Spell Sprite will hit for 3, putting Cersei down to 29. Slide the Dreadmaw forward, exchange the Forge, and discard our hands. Pick up a new 5. And in case I didn't make it totally clear, you can only do stuff on your own turn. And again, the inactive Forge player has the last say. So Nova might have been tempted to use this ability to replace an enemy creature with a Wisp, but she didn't have an opportunity to because this wasn't in play when it was her turn, and as soon as Cersei took the last action, she had the inactive Forge, so that ended the round. So there was no opportunity for Nova to do that. And in fact, maybe that's a bad example because this only can target a level 1 creature, and this is level 2, but you get the point. So now we're starting the round with a couple more things in play. The board is starting to grow, health totals are dwindling, and I'm a big fan of damaging myself, so let's go ahead and play Spite Maiden level 2. Take another 5 going to 24. Only the last health matters, right? We can play a level 1 or 2 spell for free. We're going to play Ghastly Renewal. Lets us make a zombie, and if we have a scientist, which we do, we get 2 zombies instead. So that's going to be a formidable field for our opponents. And again, we get to level up both the Ghastly Renewal and the Spite Maiden, which is the first level 3 card hitting a discard pile. Ah, but it shouldn't be because of the Zithian Dreadmaw. We got that too. And a little trick to see if you've ever forgotten to level something up is you can count the number of cards in your discard pile. So these are the 2 we just leveled up and added. But at the end of the first round of this cycle, we should have known we had 5 cards, and we only had 4. So the 5th one should have been this Zithian Dreadmaw. Or occasionally reasons that wouldn't be the case, but generally speaking, you can count up the cards. Although once you play a level 3 card, it is out, and that actually does reduce your deck size. I think I'm going to play another spell. We're all about the spells. I'm going to play Pax Blessing, choose to give a creature +3/+3, or play a Wisp and give the Wisp +3/+3. So let's do that and make it a 5/5. And because it's a spell, we'll give +2 to our Spell Sprite, which will be enough to take out the Spite Maiden level 2, and then level up the Pax Blessing. So we do have a card that cares about spells that have been banished, and we know we've leveled it up to 2, so we got a good spell chunk growing. We kind of need to make room, so we're going to go ahead and activate the Dreadmaw, destroy our own zombie. That's going to give the Dreadmaw +3/+3 from its ability, bringing it up to 12/4, and then we're going to play our level 2 Dr. Frankenbaum to go right next to his level 1 version. This time he's a 6/7, he has the same ability, and he is all primed to take out that Wisp and get a zombie, and we get to level up to level 3 for him. Unfortunately, all their best creatures here are level 2. Of course, it stands to reason, but it's making this Nova's Touch ability pretty hard to use. And I think whatever we do, it has to get rid of this. We don't want to take 12, and playing something into the back row, playing a creature in the back, won't stop it because of stealth. This is going to be pretty bad, but I think that's the best we can do. We're going to play Stampeding Mongosaur, deploy, deal 5 damage to one of your creatures, and 5 damage to an enemy creature. So the enemy creature is certainly going to be this one with 12 attack, and we can't afford to take that kind of hit. Question is, where do we put our 5/3 And does it matter? Because is it the one that we're going to kill? So it only has 3 health. We could put it here, and then it's going to be able to trade with this one. This is already poised to kill the Spite Maiden. And this Wisp is going to get swallowed by this level 2 Dr. Frankenbaum, yield them a zombie, and still survive the scientist. So we might just want to kill this now. These two can trade at least, and we'll deal with that later. So I'm going to have the Mongosaur deal 5 to this Wisp. It wasn't destroyed by Dr. Frankenbaum, so they don't get the zombie for that. Do need to upgrade our dinosaur, and then let combat resolve. Or do we change this into a Wisp? You know what? Let's do that. So I'm going to use Nova's Touch and replace this with a Wisp, and that will mean that this Mongosaur will be able to survive. So we are taking 9 damage, going down to 23. Spell Sprite deals 5 to Spite Maiden, deals 6 back, and they both are gone. 5 to the Wisp kills it, and 2 back puts the dinosaur down to 1. And at least they didn't make any free zombies out of that. Trade the Forge, slide forward, discard, and draw. And this is the last round of cycle 2. So Cersei's definitely going to want to use her ability, if for no other reason than to get a free upgrade. We got some pretty reasonable stuff. Could go a different line here with a nice combo, but I think this is the moment we've been waiting for, is the Assailing Sentinel. Going to be playing a bit aggressively, but he's going to get +1/+1 for each of our banished spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 10, 11. If it's unopposed, it immediately hits for 5. And I can't turn that down, so I'm going to put it unopposed. I'd kind of like to fight this Frankenbaum, but let's deal 5 and put them to 19. And then make him into a 10, 11. And get that level 3 ready. I think we will start out with Cersei here, using that Cycle 2 ability, Army Commander. Upgrade a level 1 card in your discard pile and then return it to your hand. And so upgrading it, we're going to upgrade this Ghoulish Shambler. And we're going to upgrade it to level 2 and then return to our hand. So we get the level 2 to our hand, and this one is out. And then we will play the Ghoulish Shambler, which means incidentally that it's going to be upgraded to level 3 to our discard pile. It says whenever one of our creatures is destroyed, deal 2 damage to a player and gain 2 health. This is deploy, upgrade a card in your discard pile. Do we want to go wide or deep? You know what? I'm going to be a little crazy. This has been tempting me all game. Let's get that going. So if we ever bring that out, it'll be a 15-4. We can try to sneak through damage from that. Although this should be in the back row, but it will win a fight against that Mongosaur. Fortunately, there's still not a ton we can do to stop Dr. Frankenbaum, unless we had put the Sentinel there. We can block it with a 1-4. But I'll just give them zombies. So I think I'm just going to try to trade damage as fast as possible and play Chant of Umbrook. Give your creatures +3. The dinosaur goes to 8. The Sentinel's at 13. And if we have a dinosaur, we can give one of our creatures Breakthrough. 8 is not that much bigger than 6 to deal 2. So I'm going to say that this has Breakthrough. We do have a dinosaur, so we get to pick any creature. We're going to give the Breakthrough to Assailing Sentinel, so even if they put something here, we'll get to deal the excess damage, and we'll level that up. Well, we can't really just take 13. Go down to 6. We actually could give +5 to one of these and put them down to 9. Keep it close. Instead, I'm going to play Grave Pact. I'm not thrilled. Destroy one of your creatures to give a creature -8/-8. So we're going to kill our own zombie, reducing our damage output. And take 8/8 off of the Sentinel, putting it down to 5 and 3. Still surviving, and it's still hitting us. One of our creatures was destroyed, so the Shambler will trigger, deal 2 damage to a player, and we gain 2. So we go up to 21, and they go to 21 as well. So we've tied the game, upgrade the Grave Pact, and we resolve the fight. So they take another 6, go to 15. We take 5, go to 16. And these two kill each other. I actually don't know if this triggers from its own death, since whenever one of your creatures is destroyed, deal 2 to a player, and you gain 2 health. It is being destroyed right now. I think creatures are meant to trigger off their own death. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more, putting them down to 13 and putting us up to 18 here on the Cersei side before sending this to the Vanish Zone. Trading the Forge, discarding, and prepping for Cycle 3. Alright, so now it's 18 to 13, and Cersei is on the play with the Forge. Her cycle 3 ability is Life Drain, deals 6 to a creature, you gain 6 health. And unfortunately her hand is all level 1 after all that upgrading. There's literally nothing to do here except for play this Broodfang. A 3/5. Well, obviously there are more things to do. It's just nothing's good. 3/5 is perfectly statted to trade with this Assailing Sentinel. If they happen to destroy Frankenbaum, we can activate it on our next turn to kill that Sentinel. So that is a bit of a threat. We'll put that there and upgrade it. And Nova's cycle 3 ability is Nova's Wrath. Give one of your creatures +6 attack. If it's a minion, it may strike its opposing creature. So we can get a minion out. That could be good. And in fact, we can. So you know what? Although, again, if we destroy that, that means they can use Broodfang. So it might be better to wait till our second action. So I'll sit on that for a second. This is kind of a weird time for this as well, but we're going to play Mystic Tangle Sprout, which has Defender. Means it always hangs out in the back row. So even though, because we're the inactive player, it would go in the back row anyway, Defender means it's always going to stay there. It never slides forward. And we can activate it to give another creature +2 health, which actually means this could survive. We'll just put them in the corner here. Go ahead and activate this and bring this up to 5. And that means it is out of range of that Broodfang, even though we haven't destroyed anything, but just in case. And it will survive the trade. Level up the Tangle Sprout. And I guess we're just going to do it. That is now out of range of Broodfang trading. So let's activate Cersei, use her level 3, cycle 3 Life Drain, deals 6 to a creature, and gain 6 health. So we're going to deal 6 here, take out the Sentinel, and gain 6, going up to 24. Then for our actual card, we're going to play Scourge Hydra, which is not very compelling, but it says deploy. If one of your creatures was destroyed this turn, destroy an enemy level 1 creature. None of that applies, but at least it has 5 attack, and we are aggressive. Just go ahead and put it in the middle, level it up. And now Nova's got some fun stuff. I'll be using her ability as well. We're going to play Lightning Tamer. It says just deploy, make a spell sprite, and when you play a spell, give this +2. So it actually functions as a spell sprite as well. We'll put it here to block Broodfang. Actually, we're going to put it here in front of Rosen Frankenbaum. This one can block the Broodfang. Then we're going to use Nova. Give one of your creatures +6 attack, and if it's a minion, it may strike its opposing creature. So the spell sprite is going up to 7 attack, and it can immediately strike. Strike meaning just it deals its damage. It doesn't take any return. So the 7 is going to Frankenbaum, which is just enough to take him out. Finally, he's been lingering long enough, and then we can resolve the fight. So 3 to this will bring it down to 1. 1 against this will bring it down to 4. And then the Scourge Hydra gets in for 5, which actually puts us down to 8. So both Forgeborn have used their abilities, and we're going into the next turn. Should grab that Lightning Tamer in case the unlikely event we get to cycle 4, that will be there. So we need to survive with only 8 health and deal 24 damage. This should not have slid forward because it has Defender. This is very possibly going to be the last round. Could go to the next round. I think Nova's going to try to do as much as possible, and this Defender is not helping. So let's go ahead and use that for 2 more health. We can put it on the Lightning Tamer, bring it up to 3, but 3 is still in death range from the Broodfang in the event they get to activate it. So I might give the 2 health here instead. So the Spell Sprite goes up to 6. And then our card is going to be Shardplate Delver level 2. It's a 5/6, and it has Breakthrough, and when it deploy it, we can replace something to give it +5. We will replace the Tangle Sprout, so we're going to have a 10/11 dinosaur. We can upgrade that into level 3, and hopefully that can do a bunch of damage. Let's see if Cersei has anything to say about that. Incidentally, Cersei can have a creature that's bigger than 10/11 with the Zithian Dreadmaw level 3. It's a 7/6 stealth. Activate, destroy another one of your creatures to give it +6/+6. I think we'll hold off on destroying anything for now. That is certainly going to be a threat that's available. And we've played a level 3 card. It does not upgrade. There's no level 4. So we just put the level 3 out, and if this dies, it's poof, its bloodline is removed from the game. But the follow-up to Nova's plan was to play Chant of Umbrook level 2. Give your creatures +5 attack. So that means Shardplate Delver is now 15 attack, and is still enough to take out even the buffed up Dreadmaw. And because we have a dinosaur, we can choose 2 creatures to get breakthrough, which is going to be both of these because they didn't already have it. Delver has it already. So we'll level up the chant and then give these 2 actually both get +7 because we played a spell. So now we have an 8-1 and a 14-6. And they all have breakthrough. So Nova's at 8. We currently have 5, but we can't add to it. I guess if we kill this, then that's 8. That would be lethal, actually. We just have to make sure we don't die at the same time. So let's see how well this goes. But I think we got it. So we're going to play Spite Maiden level 3. We're going to take 5 damage to play a spell for free, going to 19. We're going to put her anywhere, doesn't matter. The spell we play is going to be Pyre Song. Destroy up to 2 creatures with decreased health. They only have 1, which is this Lightning Tamer. So we'll get the Lightning Tamer out of the way and level that up, even though it's not going to matter. And then we could use the Dreadmaw, which I think we will. So we're going to use that. Destroy one of our other creatures, which will be the Spite Maiden, to give it +6/+6, bring it up to 13-12. We'll go ahead and use Broodfang. Activate. If one of your creatures was destroyed this turn, give a creature -3/-3. We did just have a creature get destroyed, so we're going to bring the spell sprite down to 12 and 4, just so we take a little bit less damage. And then we'll go ahead and resolve the combat. So Delver's going to deal 15 to our 12, and 3 will break through, putting us down to 16. Deal 13 back to the 11. So both of these monsters are taken out. And then here we're going to take 12 and go down to 4. And then we have 8 left over to exactly finish off Nova. Maybe Nova could have played a little bit differently and been more conscientious of their health, especially realizing if just that one creature was killed, they had lethal on board. But it definitely came down to the wire, and Cersei got to do a lot on that last turn, playing a creature that let them play a spell and then activating 2 different cards just to deal exactly enough damage and going down to 4 herself. So this Cersei and Korok deck will be moving on to the semifinals after we play a couple more quarters. So we got the Yearning Enchantment Circle and Varric Ebonskull's Spying Fathers. Thanks for watching. Subscribe so we can get more subscribers, and bye.